Hey, folks, welcome back to another episode. I'm going to call it episode of Whisky Wednesday, where Tim, me, pulls random bottles out of my collection and does quick little reviews. Today, it's a nice, cool summer day. I normally don't like drinking peated whiskeys in the summer, that's more of a fall winter thing, but today I grabbed this lovely Benromach Peat Smoke Edition. Benromach, wonderful Speyside distillery, family owned and operated. They revitalized, I think it was, when was it founded? It says on here. Founded in 1898. The family who owns it now, I'm going to butcher their name, so I'm not even going to try it. They reopened the distillery in 1993, and they say they only use 4 ingredients in their whiskey: barley, water, yeast, and the human touch, which is a wonderful tagline. So they use, in their core range, they've got a 10, and now I think currently in their core range, they've got a red wine cask matured one. And then they do 15, 21. There's a 40-year-old if you've got a lot of money. And then they do this peat smoke edition. So this is an older one. They've done a complete rebranding. So their bottles look very different than this one. So this particular bottle was distilled in 2008, bottled in 2017, making it a lovely 9-year-old whiskey. So again, the Benromach distillery, the reason that family bought it, they wanted to bring back a Speyside style of whiskey which hadn't been done in a long time, where they use whispers of peated barley, is what they say, in the normal 10-year-old and their core range, which adds a little tiny bit of smokiness, but not a lot. This one is where they ratchet it up. They say heavily peated. Again, us whiskey dorks and whiskey geeks like us who, drink the Octomores and Ardbegs and Lafroigs of the world will think, something coming in. I think this is 46 on the phenol ppms. 46 is moderate. I wouldn't necessarily call that heavily peated when the Octomores are at 150. I think there was one that was over 200 once. That's a little insane. But the Benromach Peat Smoke, we bought this, the Whiskey Dad, my dad and I, we bought this on a whim. I think Craft Sellers, which is where we got it, they were having a sale, and it was one Christmas, I believe, when we bought it. And it was on the heels of us trying the Buna Toichanaga for the first time, and we were looking for something to potentially rival that. And when this came in, I remember very vividly, this was distilled 2017. This was around 2020. I think it was in 2020 when we actually ended up getting this one in. I was on a video chat with Alex and our buddy Rad as well. So my dad and I tried this on camera, and Rad and Alex saw my expression of just absolutely loving this, that they went out and purchased a bottle as well. Little nerve-wracking, hoping that it wasn't a waste of money, but I know that they both really enjoyed it. So it's a wonderful dram, Speyside whiskey. I'm going to read some of the box here because I know it's long, but it's a really interesting label. So let's see what they have to say. There are no shortcuts to perfection in creating our peat smoke single malt whiskey. Produced in small batches using the finest natural ingredients, our distillers orchestrate every second of our distillation process, making our whiskey by sight, by sound, and by touch. By sound is a fun one. Made with heavily peated Scottish barley, Benromach Peat Smoke has more intense character than our classic 10-year-old single malt whiskey. Yet, it retains the unique Benromach fingerprint of elegant fruitiness with that gorgeous hint of chocolate. Ooh, I'm excited to see if I pick that up. Slowly matured in first fill bourbon barrels, every cask is hand-filled, hand-weighed, and hand-stamped before resting in our traditional dunnage warehouses over many years. Every precious drop infused with a lingering edge of delicious smokiness. Not bad. All right. Now, I know Benromach, the fruitiness is there. I know when I've tried other Benromachs, this was the first Benromach I ever tried, but I know that I've had the 10 and a couple of other ones. There is a fruitiness, specifically, if I remember correctly. I haven't gone into this, but I believe the Benromach profile that I always get is apples. I could be wrong. Only time will tell. How am I going to figure that out? Whoop. It's very light on the nose, which is actually nice. Again, it's the summer when I'm recording this. Really heavily peated sucker in the summer, and isn't always necessarily what I enjoy. Drinking, not that I don't enjoy it. It's just, that's more of a fall winter thing for me. But this does have a really light, crisp nose to it. I do get a little bit of apples, but there is like vanilla and just light. The peat is very, very light. It's reminiscent to me, for those Isla fans out there. It leans way more Cole Ila than it does Lefroy Ardbeg, which is more like, I find like dark and heavy and medicinal and like just punch in the face. This is more light and fresh on the like Bowmore, Talisker even. But Cole Ila to me is always the one that I go to when I'm trying to describe peat to people. I find it's the lightest and freshest, and there's like kind of citrus in the background, a bit of sea spray, but like the lemon zest kind of thing with like freshness to it. Lighter smoke as opposed to like heavy campfire smoke that you get at Lefroy and Ardbeg. Oh yeah, lovely. Just lovely. Oh, what a delicious whiskey this is. I believe 46 is the percentage. 46% ABV. So a nice, easy sipping whiskey. Yeah, it's just light, smoky, fresh. There is that lemon zest I'm getting in there. Some vanilla as well from the bourbon casks that it was aging in. The apples do creep in. It is. I remembered. It is. It's like golden delicious green apples, like the more tart apples, as opposed to like a Macintosh or a Red Delicious. It's just that like really light, or a Fuji. I do like a Fuji apple. They're my favorite apple. That's a fun fact. Fuji apples, delicious. Going back in again on the nose, it's almost like, I'm almost getting, it's a weird one, but that like fresh laundry, like a Febreze, not a Febreze because that's like perfumey, but when dryer sheets in Febreze, they've got that like fresh laundry, that kind of thing. It's like the fresh cotton, those kind of candles, or, dryer bounce sheets, that kind of thing. I get that vibe, but it's not a perfumey to it. It just kind of, getting that, it's invoking that in my memories. Yeah, it's lovely. I mean, for them, heavily peated. For me, for people who aren't really peated whiskey drinkers, I think it would be considered heavily peated and strong. But for me, it's a wonderfully well-balanced peated whiskey that's not too hard to taste. This would be one that I would probably, you know what? You could give this to someone who's trying to get into peated whiskeys. I always say Bowmore, Cole Ila, or Talisker even. I know I mentioned them already, but those are ones that I kind of give to people who are trying to get in, starting their whiskey journey. They want a little bit more experience in the peated stuff. You wouldn't just be like, here's a quarter cask, good luck, or here's the wee beastie, have fun. This would be a wonderful way to kind of introduce someone to the peaty, smoky side of whiskeys, if they haven't, or if they've just dabbled, or if they're trying to get into it. Very nice, very good whiskey. Benromach, keep up the good work. Thanks for checking out the Patreon, everybody, and for checking in on another Whisky Wednesday, which is actually a Friday. I haven't done one of these in a while. Sorry, I took a big break. For those of you watching, you know that it's not a Wednesday, but I'm calling it Whisky Wednesday because that's what I do. So enjoy this bonus Friday edition of it. 9 minutes in is when I say that. I don't know what's wrong with me. Wonderful dram. If you don't have Benromach peat smoke and you like something light and fresh with a little bit of peat behind it, highly recommend you give this a shot. All the Benromach stuff is very delicious. And thanks again for checking out the channel. I'll be back next week. Again, we've had a lot of Whiskey Geeks podcast stuff. Frog Bucket, don't forget the comic. It's out. You can order it. You can check out, I'm posting stuff about creating issue 2 because that's coming as well. So make sure you are sharing this channel with your friends. That would be great to bring some more people in. Have more people come into this wonderful thing that we're doing. So thanks for checking it out. And as always, Scotch and stories, they belong together. Cheers!